Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
I'm doing well for an old fart. I just had a medical and
Uh-oh.
yesterday, and I got the blood work back, and all's good. So you guys got me around for a little longer, I'm afraid.
That's great. Great. You know, when I used to call my parents all the time, every phone conversation, the first 15 minutes was how all their doctor's appointments was going. And that got really old fast, So
Yeah,
we'll skip
I
that part.
promise that's the last time I'll talk about it
There we
for
go.
at least a year because I have to go back, in a year and so on and so on.
Next year. Nice, nice. All right. We were talking a little bit on Tuesday about the whole water shortage in Iran, and it's like this is just like blowing up. I don't know
Oh,
how much of this is on the U.S. news. I find lots of it on information about it on YouTube and stuff like that.
well, that's where I'm getting my news. As I was explaining before it went live, I actually a girlfriend of my wife, who she grew up with in Idaho, married a Iranian man who still has family over there, and
Mhm.
so I heard from her that it's pretty serious over there, and they're actually apparently having to relocate because it's become so dangerous.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this. The thing is, even if they overthrow, the ruling
Mullahs.
Muslim clerics or
Yeah.
whatever, that still doesn't solve the water problem.
Oh no, no. I mean, I don't know how, the chants are now Khomeini will go, Pahlavi will come. Pahlavi being
Yeah,
son of
Reza
Reza
Pahlavi. Yeah.
Pahlavi, the
I've
former
been like
Shah.
investigating to see if like I used to be friends with him. Because, no, I like I told you, I used to stay with people who were ministers under the Shah that I have as friends in the DC area,
Yeah,
and so I'm always just kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if I haven't met this guy at some point and just nobody told me who he was,
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing. Because I kind of like I look at the
Well,
news
he
and it's
was
like,
he
you know,
when the Shah left in '79, I think it's '79. He was 17 years old. He was a teenager. And
mhm.
now, of course, 45 years later, he's in his 60s and an old guy like me. But yeah, it is. I don't know how they're going to address the problem. I think just first of all, they need to stabilize the country and have. I don't know how you're going to handle it. You got 45 years of oppressive theocratic government that thought they could, mold people into their image, and it's going to be tough. Now, yeah, can you be talking about grooming?
No, 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 don't discuss that, Bill.
Yeah, okay, I won't go there. All right.
That's kind
Anyway, so yeah, it's not going to be solved overnight just because the Pahlavi family and their retinue of followers, get off an Air France flight or whatever, like the original Khomeini. That they've got a hell of a job ahead of them, and I do not envy them. I hope that the U.S. and Israel and other European countries will get in there and start helping them out.
Yeah, I knew, like I said, I knew the minister of education. His last name was Samadzadeh. And
Okay, yeah,
anyways, good folks. I actually have gotten really fond of Persian food as a result
yeah,
of
yeah.
that. And if I see Persian food in different places, I like to go there. In fact, of all the Middle Eastern types, that's my favorite.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I would probably say that. In fact, what did I have? I have some food from a where were they from? No, they weren't Turkey. Where did they? Oh, I think they were from Syria. They
Mhm.
were Syrian refugees, and I thought, well, rice and raisins and fruit and lamb and so on. I think that's basically Persian.
There's at the right by the Orlando airport at the Lake Nona exit, which is one exit east of the airport. There's a right off the exit. There's a fantastic Turkish restaurant there in a little park that I recommend to anybody. So I get people all the time asking me for recommendations on where to stay if they're going to the National Tennis Center, which is also at that exit. And I'm always saying you've got to visit this Turkish restaurant. This place is
Where
phenomenal.
was it?
It's so if you're at the Orlando airport, you go one exit east on the freeway,
Oh, okay.
like you're heading towards Cocoa Beach.
Right.
It's the next exit. It's the Lake Nona exit, and if you exit south on the exit, there is a whole bunch of hotels. A
Right.
great there's a great entertainment district right there that I recommend it over going into Orlando proper. It's just a nice experience. You could just
Yeah.
hang out there for a week in this little entertainment district and try out all the different restaurants and different things. There's just a lot to do there.
Yeah.
And there's a top across the freeway. There's a Top Golf, and on the other side of the Top Golf is the National Tennis Center. It has 100 courts. Every court live streams. So when I play tennis tournaments there, I can let people know. I usually have a couple of WhatsApp groups and groups I'll send my court numbers to, and then I'll go on the National Tennis Center website and watch the match.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's very nice for them to see that. We don't talk about it on here. I'm actually a pretty decent tennis player. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm off on talking about. Bill and we started out talking about
talking about the situation in Iran and the water situation,
and then it's changed over to Iranian food,
right?
And then Turkish food. And now I'm telling people where a restaurant I recommend in Orlando. So, anyways, this was supposed to be a plug.
Okay, all right.
In Orlando, but
back to EV World stuff.
The thing is, this guy hates McDonald's, so this would be a really big upgrade from.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, all right. So we talked about Ford. Now we got GM taking a $6 billion hit, scaling back on EV ambitions. So. There was a lot of people reporting on this, but it was pretty big write down. So they're writing down battery and EV factory investments. I'm really surprising they're doing the battery because Ford's diverting into battery storage. And so they're even converting some of their EV manufacturing into battery storage because I think I was telling you they expect that market to 10x or something like that in the next 10 years.
Well, if my mind remembers correctly, they don't actually manufacture the batteries. They buy the batteries from the people doing the assembly for them is LG Chem. So it may be that they're just reducing either the research into new batteries or how many they're going to end up buying from their supplier. So. That would probably and if they're reducing the amount of research into new models and sort of consolidating production of where they've been, at a couple different sites, it can bring them all down into a single site and economize there, lay off extra shifts, things. So that's the kind of thing I think they're probably looking at.
What's kind of interesting about a lot of this is we know that Ford's best-selling vehicle is the F-150, right? And they didn't go that well as an EV for them. But 10 years from now, looking into the future, there's still going to be a market for full-size pickups. Now, maybe solid-state batteries fixes some of the issues with trucking and all that. But this has been the one big issue is that for like general contractors, people that legitimately do work with a truck and they have a truck because they got to tow something or whatever, that's the one shortcoming we really see. That's if somebody's going to argue about, EVs have this problem, that's the only legitimate problem there really is. Everything else is something that people have kind of made up, right? Yeah. But this is a real issue. Is EV
and by the way, Dave can talk about that because he's been involved in construction. Yeah. So
I wouldn't want to think about towing a 19,000-pound backhoe with a F-150. That thing would probably have about a 40-mile range. I mean, it just that much weight. Now, to be fair, you're not supposed to tow that backhoe with an F-150.
No.
Okay, an F-250 or a 350, yes. And nobody's making those yet.
Diesel.
yeah, not yet. And you have Chinese accent. I don't even do a good Chinese accent. I have some friends who do though. Anyways. But it's interesting to see this. So I'm really wondering in 10 years, Ford and Chevy are still probably going to be making gas pickup trucks. Okay. But the car market, I just don't see where new cars are going to make any sense. Maybe we'll still have some hybrids out there, but I just can't see where in 10 years we don't have at least
Yeah, those
50% of all.
those will be probably rarer than they are now. Well, they're not rare; they're very common, but they will move into the rarer categories
Yeah.
that we'll see. So yeah,
The economics of gas cars are going
suck.
yeah, they're getting bad.
Yeah,
They're getting
suck.
bad. So it's not just whether or not you want to save the planet or worried about global warming or whatever. It's the fact that economics in the EV space
Are
is
you
taking
familiar
over.
with the website Super Blondie, something like
Yeah,
that? Okay.
yeah,
And they always, it's like almost every day, they have an article about this driver discovered what the economics of an EV are really like, those kind of headlines. And of course, when you get down to read them, they all say they're saving ungodly amounts of money by going to electric, as
yeah.
opposed to the F-150 they were driving, as opposed to the, whatever it was they had before or still have.
Yeah. Well, look at what we were talking about with the Chinese cement mixing company that had the
Yeah.
battery swapping technology.
Right.
They had reduced their operating expenses by 75% on fueling and maintenance.
Yep.
By switching all those.
In a cement truck.
Yeah, and cement trucks. Yeah, and then they were swapping out the battery in like 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
And just crazy to see.
That's hardly enough time for the driver to get off and have a cup of coffee,
No, you're gonna stay with your vehicle probably for that whole process.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're gonna move on. Meta, or Facebook, as most people know it. Facebook.
I thought you'd see this one.
Oh yeah, they signed a 6.6 gigawatt purchase for AI data centers. So 6.6 gigawatts of power from nuclear. Now, I was on a call a couple of days ago with a town here in Nebraska, and we were talking about what the shortage of LNG gas burners, because there is a data center in Texas that's purchased 7 gigawatts of continuous LNG capacity with gas turbines. That is incredible. You can't go buy, if you get on a waiting list to buy a gas turbine, you're probably looking at its manufacturing time to be in 29 or 30 as to when it rolls off the production line. That's how far in advance those things are sold out. So all the AI data companies are trying to secure nuclear deals, but Meta signed 6.6 gigawatts. In theory, that would support in the United States, about 4 million homes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, that's enough power. You say 4 million homes, let's just say about 15 million people, let's just say.
And I'm just noticing on the ticker that all of those companies are up today.
Oh, yeah. The federal government said some more cool stuff about nuclear a couple days ago. And while I haven't really covered what that news was, it's made all the nuclear stocks start going up again. So we've seen some swings on it. But to be honest, isn't everything green today?
Well, Rivian is down just slightly, about a percentage point.
Yeah,
Ford is down 1.5.
But Rivian's been bouncing between 18 and 22 for the past week or so. So it's kind of off. Yeah, Ford down 1%. I mean, that's not a big deal. $14 for Ford's a pretty good price for the stock. I mean, not cheap. I mean, it's if you're holding it, that's pretty good number. Yeah, but you look at our AI stocks like AMD is only up 1%. Microsoft's down. Oh, no, well, it's not really down.
NewScale's up over 5.5.
Yeah, I mean that's pumping. In the
Where's I don't see your Oklo on there. That they were part of this.
They were.
Deal.
Yeah, and Oklo's not on the list. And I'm kind of curious to see where it's at right now. Oklo.
Yeah, there's what, 3 companies? The Oklo I recognize.
Oh God, they're up 9.83%. So they had dipped. Remember I said it was going to go down to like $75, and it went to about 73. It's at 107 today. I should have bought back in then. Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with the ride I took. I know a guy who runs a pension fund that bought Oklo at $1. He's holding Oklo. He bought it $1. Okay, for his pension fund. Okay, that is really. I wouldn't be surprised if he hadn't sold a big chunk of it when it went up to $180 or whatever it was. But yeah, they're up 10%. It's still climbing. Yeah, I suspect it's going to be in the ticker feed now.
Well, I wonder if it's because of that news about Meta.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. This is huge news. So Meta secured 20-year power purchase agreements with Vistra, TerraPower, which is Bill Gates, and Oklo.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay.
Yeah, and to expand nuclear capacity by 6.6 gigawatts. Includes restarting existing plants and deploying SMRs. Big tech's massive energy demands for AI are driving nuclear power investments, with Oklo deploying 1.2 gigawatts of small reactors in southern Ohio, specifically for Meta. So what's happening is there's been a lot of stuff on the technology side that's being developed, and there's been a lot of talk about what's going to happen with that, with NRC. Well, what's happening now is these companies are actually getting contracts to sell power. And that's where the real money is in the space. It's not that people are going to sell reactors, they're going to sell power.
Yeah. So where are they at? I mean, none of those guys at this point have an actual working reactor or power they can fulfill the contract to Meta, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. It's whenever they can start. These contracts are written 20 years from the day they start being able to supply power.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing. This stuff isn't theoretical. So the U.S. scientists helped the Chinese build one that went active about a year and a half ago. Okay, that's a this is still mostly third gen technology. The one in China is fourth gen. Okay, but it was U.S. scientists. All this stuff's proven. Okay, but the challenge has been scaling it down into an SMR. But what's funny about the whole SMR idea is technically most of the reactors like the U.S. Navy uses are really SMRs.
Right.
Okay.
Small modular reactors for folks that aren't familiar with the jargon.
Yeah. So, and obviously the submarines aren't running around with a giant cooling tower, on the back of the sub.
They don't have to. They're surrounded by
cold water. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's different in that regard. But the Navy's safely been running nuclear power for about 60 years.
Yeah, since the 50s, since the Nautilus.
Yeah. Anyways, Illinois lifts a nuclear moratorium, opens the doors for new large reactors. Illinois had previously had a moratorium. They have nuclear, but they had, put a moratorium on new reactors.
Consolidated Edison or something like that.
Yeah. The Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act. Man, I'm surprised you didn't throw common sense in there. They like to throw the words common sense into the name of things, right? The Clean and Reliable Grid Affordability Act lifts a decades-long ban on new large reactors in Illinois, responding to projected energy shortages. The legislation incentivizes battery storage and other measures to bolster grid reliability as demand surges. Illinois is joining a growing number of states embracing nuclear as essential for meeting clean energy goals and data center demand. Let's see. All right, we'll move off from nuclear now. And Tesla Q4 numbers dropped 16%, the first back-to-back annual decline. Tesla only delivered, this is for the fourth quarter, 418,000 vehicles, down 16% year over year, total of 1.64 million for the year, the second consecutive annual decline. Obviously, Tesla moved into number 2 in the world behind BYD for total production. BYD, 2.26 million vehicles for the year.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder, though, I bet you Tesla did a lot more dollar volume in those sales, though. than BYD, probably by almost double. I mean, a lot of those BYDs are $10,000 cars.
Right.
You know, they do have more expensive stuff, but a lot of that is really inexpensive compared to,
Yeah, the
US.
seagull and the sea lion, or
Yeah.
whatever those various models are. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I would bet that Tesla probably did double the dollar volume in car sales that BYD did, just because their cars are so much more expensive. Despite the weak delivery numbers, analysts predict 11.6% revenue growth and 42% earnings growth in 2026. 42%, suggesting the market is looking beyond vehicles to AI and robotics. I mean, it's interesting. Now, Tesla's always had the best profit margins for their cars. So even though, people might criticize some of their sales, it's like they're still maintaining profit margins. So
yeah,
interesting.
I came with a couple of stories that are, I guess, related to this. One is that apparently in December, sales of Tesla vehicles actually set a new monthly record.
Mhm.
So that would seem to indicate that all is not lost. Whereas I'm seeing also at the same time a story saying how much longer can the Berlin Gigafactory continue to stay open.
Mhm.
So you're getting, bipolar, if you will, bipolar bits of news on Tesla, which I guess is not built confidence building,
Yeah.
but that could very well be the reality.
Yeah. Well, you never know. All right. Let's talk solid state batteries.
Yeah.
All right. A simple design change could fix major issues. South Korean researchers discovered a structural redesign that improves solid state battery performance up to 4 times without expensive metal additives. The innovation rearranges internal architecture to help lithium ions move more freely, potentially making solid state batteries commercially viable. This has always been my thing. People talked about introducing a vehicle with solid state batteries. What I've never really seen is the economics of solid state.
I have that for you. Let me try to
Excellent.
find it, because I did a little
Okay.
research. I knew you would raise this issue.
Because I always talk economics. I know.
Where did I put the page? Let's see here. Here
I'm
we
predictable
go.
in that way.
Okay, so where we're at there, we've got several cars or several vehicles that are appearing. Now I lost you. Where are you on my screen here? Way to go,
Did
Bill.
I go away? Well, I still hear you.
Yeah,
You can keep talking.
I'll just keep talking. I'll talk to the screen. So there are at least 2 vehicles that are now using solid state battery. One is a Chinese car maker putting it in one of their models. The other, which is probably the furthest along, is an electric motorcycle coming out of Finland, a company called Verge, and their new motorcycle will have a solid state battery in it. And it's got some really promising numbers if I can find them here. Let's see. Okay, scroll down, get past there. Okay, so I asked the AI, in this case Copilot, about energy density and things like that. This new Verge motorcycle is using this solid state battery that has a 400 watt hour per kilogram energy density. Okay, that's how you measure the power of these batteries. Current lithium technology that is going into cars like Tesla and Ford Rangers and things like that are about 300 to 250 watt hours. So they're almost, what is that, 40% more energy dense than that. And of course, in that motorcycle, that battery, which is rated at 33.3 kilowatt hours, a little larger than what's in my Fiat, enable it to have a range of 370 miles.
On a motorcycle?
On a motorcycle. Okay,
oh, God.
so
Do you imagine riding that long on a motorcycle without taking a break?
you could almost go from here to where the Black Hills, oh, come on, what is that, Bill?
Sturgis.
Yeah, Sturgis. You could almost, do that whole Sturgis thing from here. 370 miles. And it charges to 80% state of charge with a 200 kilowatt charger, obviously, in 10 minutes time. And you could, it says here, claims 5-minute full charge in some demos. So technically, you've got finally a motorcycle that really competes with Harley and Indian or, whoever that is out there. Now, on the question of cost, this is really interesting because I know this has been one of kind of your concerns, rightly so. Let me get down here. So, lithium batteries right now range from $100 to $150 per kilowatt hour. Okay, that's where we're at. Solid state ranges from $800 to $1,200 per kilowatt hour. So it's 8 times more expensive than lithium battery technology. However, that's projected during the 2028 to 2030 timeframe to drop to 80 to 200 dollars per kilowatt hour. So we could, let's say here within, close to within the decade, before the decade closes out, we could start to see that become really competitive with lithium. And when it does, you're going to see the manufacturers start to switch over because it's so much cheaper, it charges so much faster, and it's so much safer. They don't burn up like lithium does. So that's a little bit of research I did on it this morning.
Well, it's not that they don't burn. They don't have the electrolytes that burn, right? There's something.
No, there are no combustible things in the battery. It's the electrolytes in the battery that are the combustible element of lithium.
Part. Yeah.
There are no such. Yeah. In fact, that's where actually the Korean breakthrough is that by rearranging the materials in that solid electrolyte enables the ions to pass back and forth between the anode and the cathode much freer, which allows it to charge faster, allows it to have greater energy density, and so on. So that's their breakthrough. So it should actually bring the cost significantly down from where it is right now.
Great. All right. Let's see. All right. Elon Musk's Grok AI controversy has caused the UK to consider banning the X platform. Musk's, the XAI chatbot that Grok uses, faced backlash because it generated sexualized deepfake images of real people, prompting restrictions on image generation. Now, this is what my system said. The real truth is that people were using it basically to make child porn. People were figuring out, and I'm just like, is there not a way to just kick those people out?
I mean, better to do with your time. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But anyways, Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, stated a ban on X is on the table due to Grok's misuse, representing the most serious regulatory threat to Musk's social platform. Well, in the UK, you don't have free speech. So this is this is
it's not guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, they regularly you can post stuff. They have police go around. I think they've had something like 12,000 people put in jail for stuff they posted on things like Facebook and other social media platforms that somebody was offended by. The controversy highlights the regulatory challenges facing AI image generation and could impact Musk's broader tech empire and political influence. Well, this issue with the video, there's a lot of things that are kind of disturbing about video. You probably saw, I'm sure you've seen the video of that woman that hit the ICE officer and he shot her, right? I've already seen AI deepfakes on that. And it's kind of, the thing is, video seems like proof of something, right?
Not anymore.
It's just not anymore. And it's so easy to I'm actually kind of sick of seeing these things. Hey, look at Joe Rogan's reaction to whatever, and they have a clip of Joe Rogan, and the video has nothing to do with
Case
Joe.
in point. Remember last time we were on, I was talking about 3I Atlas, right?
Mm-hmm.
This object in space.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a particular I've watched several channels that have been tracing this thing because it has basically some physics defying characteristics that just don't fit our models. And so I watched one today. Oh my God, what's the name of the thing? Anyway, where the gentleman who looks a respected scientist, and talking about the characteristics. What's happened is now that it's moved away from the sun and is headed out of the solar system, it has suddenly lost its mass because it was looking at like it had the mass. I don't know how many trillions of tons. The way he describes it, it's like you were tracing Mount Everest, going through space, a comparable size of mass through space, and suddenly it becomes a small hill. Where'd all the mass go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what's happening with this thing is completely defies our current understanding of how the universe works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I keep thinking, but this guy always says three, how does 3I Atlas. It's like I would normally say 3I Atlas. Anytime I see that where they're talking about, they're having a trouble linking numbers, I know that's AI. Mm-hmm. So I got to looking, and sure enough, this is a whole AI thing that's put together, but it looks real. It's like, I am real, folks. I'm not AI talking right now.
Right.
But you can't, it's so realistic, except for the phrasing of what he's saying. And it's only in how he identifies this stellar object, or not stellar, this object out in space. That is the clue. It's that real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's obviously a lot of deepfakes going on. I mean, it gets old. I mean, I like to follow health information from a Dr. Peter Attia, and then I see videos, and they're using his voice, but it's not him.
It's not him.
Yeah, and they're producing their own content.
Another one is George Will, the conservative commentator.
Yeah.
There's this whole channel of George Will talking about current political situation, with Epstein and all that mess. It's not George Will, and same way with George Conway, the former husband of, whatever her name was, with the first Trump administration. Kellyanne Conway, her husband, who's now running for Congress, I think, in the state of New York. I'm thinking, wow, this is amazing. It turns out, nope, it's not Jim, not George, it's all AI.
Yep. Yeah. It's pretty easy to digitize somebody's voice.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't say it takes work, but it's doable.
It's doable.
And it's doable really accurately. And some of it, though, is you catch the inflections of the person's personality in it, and some of that is a bit of a challenge.
No,
but anyways,
all you got to do is, there's enough video out there. I suppose if somebody wanted to, duplicate you and me and have us say crazy stuff, that'd be.
We already do that. We already do that.
Well, we already do the crazy stuff. Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So we've talked about battery storage in the U.S. So the grid storage market has actually become oversupplied now. There's so much energy storage. The market flipped almost overnight from shortage to oversupply right at the start of this year. Oversupply may lower costs. It also signals potential market consolidation and pricing pressure on battery manufacturers. There's a lithium demand revival. The storage boom is strengthening the demand for lithium, which there's no shortage, like we always say, there's no shortage of lithium mining. It's just that the price keeps dropping.
Yeah.
All right. talked about that one. All right. Kia has a new EV2.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one.
Looks like a small, what is that? The Jeep model. You know, Jeep has that one Compass or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah, it's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah,
Yeah,
although
I mean,
a little, obviously a little more boxy, doesn't have the famous Jeep, you know, round headlights and all that kind of stuff. But I
a lot
like
of
it. It's an
yeah,
attractive car.
a lot of your Kia and Hyundai models have this look now. But what do we get here? 42 kilowatt battery. Let's see, 42 or 61 kilowatt hour batteries. Let's see what we get here. 10 to 80% charging in 30 minutes. Vehicle to load.
Yeah, it was revealed
information.
that we say that it's revealed at the Brussels Motor Show,
Mhm.
and from what the speculation is, it currently will not be available to U.S. buyers. It'll be available to manufactured. Oh gosh, Slovenia or somewhere like that. Yeah, be manufactured
Oh,
in Europe.
yeah. It's shorter than the Volvo EX30. Should be easy to park. It's 60 inches tall, about
5 feet.
71 inches wide. There are smaller cars out there like the Hyundai Enster, which we don't have it over here.
Right.
Let me see. What specs did they reveal? I'm trying to see if they revealed anything other than just the battery size.
Yeah, I think the
expected
price on
range. The small battery, 317 miles. Oh no, I'm sorry, kilometers.
kilometers. Yeah,
The bigger battery, 448 kilometers.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Which 200? That the first one's somewhere around 170 miles, and the other one, 400, would be somewhere just over close to 300 miles.
Yeah, about that. Let's see. And not a whole lot of other information they really revealed.
No, I think I saw the speculation is going to be somewhere around 30,000 euros in that area.
Yeah. Well, probably not going to be announced for the U.S. market. Yeah, we're such EV haters over here in the U.S. I guess I can see that.
Yeah, if you're a car company, if I were a car company, I was going to start building EVs.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do it here.
No,
I wouldn't aim for this market.
No, it's really sad how the U.S. is. All right, Bill, did you have anything else you wanted to cover today?
Oh no, I'm good. That's a give people a break.
Give them a break.
Yeah. I'm working all kinds of things. I'm using AI to start generating illustrations for the children's book that I'm writing.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating.
Yeah, so good fun time.
Yeah, it's a challenge getting all that right and making the illustrations do well.
I couldn't get it. I couldn't get AI to understand my request, right? So I thought, all right, I got to do this the old-fashioned way. So I grabbed a bunch of photographs off of the Google image section,
Mhm.
and sort of cut and pasted them together, right? Kind of like a collage, and said, now, here's what I want you to do. And it did it finally. So if you're interested, go follow my Facebook page, and you'll see the journey that I'm on creating this book called "Be Bright and the Journey to the Sun."
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll find it interesting. Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Otherwise, everyone have a great day.